this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of Barry Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak!
It is offended.
See, it stalks away.
Say, speak, I charge thee, speak!
'Tis gone, and will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on't?
Before my God, I might not believe this without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on when he the ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once when in an angry parle he smote the sledded Polacks on the ice. 'Tis strange.
Thus, twice before, and jump at this dead hour, with martial stalk hath he gone by our watch.
In what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state.
Good now, sit down, and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war, why such impress of shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week? What might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint laborer with the day? Who is it that can inform me?
That can I. At least the whisper goes so. Our last king, whose image even now but appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride, dared to the combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who by a sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit, with his life, all those his lands which he stood seized of to the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gauged by our king, which he had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras had he been the vanquisher, as by the same covenant and carriage of the article designed his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unimproved metal hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there shocked up a list of lawless resolutes, for food and diet to some enterprise that hath a stomach in it, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us, by strong hand and terms compulsatory, those foresaid lands so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch, and the chief head of this post-haste and roamage in the land.
I think it be no other but e'en so. Well may it sort that this portentous figure comes armed through our watch, so like the king that was, and is the question of these wars.
A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye. In the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the graves stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets, as stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun, and the moist star upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse. And even the like precurse of fierce events, as harbingers preceding still the fates and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climaters and countrymen. But soft! Behold, lo, where it comes again! I'll cross it, though it blast me. Stay, illusion! If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. Oh, If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak. Or if thou hast uphoarded in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak. Oh, stop it, Marcellus!
Oh, I strike at it with my partisan!
Do if it will not stand.
'Tis here!
Oh, 'tis here!
'Tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air, invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery.
It was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock that is the trumpet to the morn doth with his lofty and shrill-sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine. And of the truth herein this present object made probation.
It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever 'gainst the season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say, no spirit dares stir abroad. The nights are wholesome, then no planet strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious is this time.
So have I heard and do believe in part. But look, the morn, in russet mantle clad, walks o'er the dew of yon highway Easter hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For, upon my life, this spirit dumb to us will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves fitting our duty?
Let's do it, I pray, and I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently.
Though yet of Hamlet our dear brother's death the memory be green, in that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and with dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along.
For all our thanks. Now follows that you know. Young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear husband's death our state to be disjoint and out of frame, colleagued with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message, importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father with all the bonds of law to our most valiant husband. So much for him. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and loose your voice. And wouldst thou beg, Laertes, that shall not be my offer, not thy asking? The head is not more native to the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
My dread lord, your leave, and favour to return to France, from whence, though willingly I came to Denmark, to show my duty in your coronation, yet now I must confess that duty done, My thoughts and wishes bend again toward France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laboursome petition, and at last upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech thee, give him leave to go.
Take thy fair hour, Laertes. Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son.
A little more than kin and less than kind.
How is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, my lord. I am too much in the sun.
Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted colour off, and let thine eyne look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Ay, madam, it is common.
If it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems, madam. Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief, that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passeth show, these but the trappings and the suits of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know, your father lost a father. That father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persevere in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be and is as common as any the most vulgar thing to sense. Why should we, in our peevish opposition, take it to heart? Fie! 'Tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried, from the first cause till he that died today, this must be so. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend you to remain here, in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg.
I'll in all my best obey you, madam.
Why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Be as ourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart, in grace whereof no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the kings rouse the heavens, all brew it again, re-speaking earthly thunder. Come away.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew! Or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon 'gainst self's slaughter! God! God! How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on it! Ah, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this. But 2 months dead. Nay, not so much. Not 2. So excellent a king, that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet within a month, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe all tears, why she, even she, oh God! A beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. O most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets! It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Hail to your lordship.
I am glad to see you well, Horatio, or I do forget myself.
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus?
My good lord.
I am very glad to see you. Good even, sir. But what, in faith, make you from Wittenberg?
Truant disposition, good my lord.
I would not hear your enemy say so, nor shall you do mine ear that violence to make a truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant. But what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I pray thee do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen that day, Horatio. My father. Methinks I see my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw? Who?
My lord the king, your father.
The king, my father?
Season your admiration for a while with an attent ear, till I may deliver, upon the witness of these gentlemen, this marvel to you.
For God's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch, in the dead vast and middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure like your father, armed at point exactly, Capapi appears before them, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his truncheon's length, whilst they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy impart they did, And I with them the third night kept the watch, whereas they had delivered, both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father, these hands are not more like.
But where was this?
My lord, upon the platform where we watched.
Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up its head, and did address itself to motion, like as it would to speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away, and vanished from our sight.
'Tis very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true. And we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, sirs. But this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight?
We do, my lord.
Armed, say you?
Armed, my lord.
From top to toe?
My lord, from head to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh, yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up.
What, looked he frowningly?
A countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale.
And fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constantly.
I would I had been there.
It would have much amazed you.
Very like, very like. Stayed it long?
While one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer, longer.
Not when I saw it.
His beard was grizzled, no?
It was, as I have seen it in his life, a sable-silvered.
I will watch tonight. Perchance 'twill walk again.
I warrant it will.
If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still. And whatsoever else shall hap tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves. So fare you well. Upon the platform, twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you.
Our duty
Our
to you.
duty to your honor.
Your loves, as mine to you. Farewell. My father's spirit in arms. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. Oh, would the night were come. Till then, sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes. The air bites shrewdly. It is very cold.
It is a nipping and an eager air.
What hour now?
I think it lacks of 12.
No, it is struck.
Indeed. I heard it not. Then it draws near the season wherein the spirit held his wont to walk. What does this mean, my lord?
The king doth wake tonight and take his rouse, keeps wassail in the swaggering upspring reels, and as he drains his draughts of Rhenish down, the kettle drum and trumpet thus bray out the triumph of his pledge.
Is it a custom?
Ay, marry, is it? But to my mind, though I am native here and to the matter born, it is a custom more honored in the breach than the observance. This heavy-headed revel east and west makes us traduced and taxed of other nations. They keep us drunkards, and with swinish phrase soil our addition. And indeed it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the pith and marrow of our attribute. So oft it chances in particular men that for some vicious mole of nature in them as in their birth, wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, by the o'ergrowth of some complexion, oft breaking down the pales and forts of reason, or by some habit that too much o'erleavens the form of plausible manners, that these men, carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, being nature's livery or fortune's star, their virtues else, be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall, in the general censure, take corruption from that particular fault. The dream of ale doth all the noble substance of a doubt to his own scandal.
Look, my lord, it comes.
Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou a spirit of health, or goblin damned, bring with thee airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy intents wicked or charitable, thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, king, father, royal Dane. Oh, answer me! Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements, why the sepulchre wherein we saw thee quietly inurned hath oped his ponderous and marble jaws to cast thee up again. What may this mean, that thou, dead corse, again in complete steel, revisitest thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous, and we, fools of nature, so horridly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls? Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do?
It beckons you to go away with it, as if in some impartment did desire to you alone.
Look, with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it.
No, by no means.
It will not speak. Then I will follow it.
Do not, my lord!
Why? What should be the fear? I do not set my life in a pin's fee, and for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again. I'll follow it.
What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord? Or to the dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assume some horrible form, which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it. The very place puts toys of desperation, without more motive, into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea and hear it roar beneath.
It waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee.
You shall not go, my lord.
Hold off your hands.
Be ruled, you shall not go.
My fate cries out, and makes each petty artery in this body as hardy as the Nemean lion's nerve. Still am I called. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say away. Go on. I'll follow thee.
Oh, he waxes desperate with imagination.
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Half after. To what issue will this come?
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Heaven will direct it.
Nay, let's follow him.
Where wilt thou lead me? Speak. I'll go no further.
Mark me.
I will.
My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak. I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear.
What?
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold, whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood, make thy two eyes like stars start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end, like quills upon the fretful porpentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh, list, if ever thou didst thy dear father love.
Oh, God.
Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul strange and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I, with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge.
I find thee apt, and duller shouldst thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Leith Wharf, wouldst thou not stir in this. Now, Hamlet, here, 'tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me, so the whole ear of Denmark is by forged process of my death rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle.
Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, oh, wicked wit and gifts that have the power so to seduce one to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue, as it never will be moved through lewdness courted, though lewdness courted in a shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed and prey on garbage. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be. Sleeping within my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon, upon my secure hour, thy uncle stole with juice of cursed Hebanon in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor doth posset and curd, like eager droppings into milk, the thin and wholesome blood, so did it mine. And a most instant tetter barked about, most lazar-like, with vile and loathsome crust, all my smooth body. Thus was I, sleeping by a brother's hand of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossom of my sin, unhouselled, disappointed, unannaled, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. Oh, horrible! Oh, horrible! Most horrible! If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows Matin to be near, and gins to pale his uneffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet, remember me.
Oh, all you host of heaven, oh, earth, what else? And shall I couple hell? Oh, fie! Hold my heart, and you, my sinews, grow not instant old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee, I, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe, remember thee. Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pleasures past, that youth and observation copied there, and thy commandment alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with base matter. Yes, by heaven, O most pernicious woman! O villain! Villain! Smiling, damned villain! My tables, meet it is I set it down that one may smile and be a villain. At least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word it is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn it.
My lord!
Lord, my lord! Lord Hamlet!
Heaven secure him.
So be it.
Hello, ho, ho, my lord!
Hello, ho, ho, my boy. Come, bird, come.
How is't, my noble lord?
There's ne'er a villain dwelling in all Denmark, but he's an errant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this.
Why, right. You are in the right. And so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your business and desire shall point you, for every man has business and desire, such as it is. And for mine own poor part, look you, I'll go pray.
These are but wild and whirling words, my lord.
I'm sorry they offend you. Heartily, yes, faith, heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
Yes, but say, by Saint Patrick there is, Horatio, and much offense too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost, and let me tell you. For your desire to know what it is between us, or master as you may. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars and soldiers, give me one poor request.
What is it, my lord? We will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord, we will not.
Nay,
We will not.
but swear it. Well said, old mole. Canst work in the earth so fast? A worthy pioneer. Once more remove, good friends.
Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange.
And therefore as a stranger give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come, here as before, never so help you mercy, how strange or odd soever I bear myself, as I perchance hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on, that you, at such time seeing me, never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase, as well, well, we know, or we could, and if we would, or if we list to speak, or there be, and if they might, or such ambiguous giving out to note that you know aught of me. This not to do. So grace and mercy at your most need help you. Swear.
Swear.
Rest. Rest, perturbed spirit.
I swear.
So, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you. And what so poor a man as Hamlet is may do to express his love and friending to you, God willing, shall not lack. Let us go in together, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite, that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go together.
Oh, give me leave. How does my good Lord Hamlet?
Well, God a mercy.
Do you know me, my lord?
Excellent well. You are a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
Then I would you were so honest a man.
Honest, my lord?
Aye, sir. To be honest as this world goes is to be one man picked out of 10,000.
Well, that's very true, my lord.
For if the sun breed maggots in a dead dog, being a god-kissing carrion. Have you a daughter?
I have, my lord.
Let her not walk in the sun. Conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look to it.
What do you read, my lord?
Words, words, words.
What is the matter, my lord?
Between who?
I mean the matter that you read, my lord.
Oh, slanders, sir. For the satirical rogue says here that old men have grey beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber and plum-tree gum, and that they have a plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hams. All which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down, for yourself, sir, should be as old as I am, if, like a crab, you could go backward.
Will you walk out of the air, my lord?
Into my grave.
Indeed, that is out of the air. My lord, I have news to tell you.
My lord, I have news to tell you. When Roscius was an actor in Rome.
The actors are come hither, my lord.
Oh, buzz, buzz.
Upon mine honor.
Then came each actor on his ass.
The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral comical, historical pastoral, tragical historical, tragical comical historical pastoral, scene individable, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light. For the law of writ and the liberty, these are the only men.
Oh, Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou!
What a treasure had he, my lord?
Why, one fair daughter and no more, the which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter.
Am I not in the right, old Jephthah?
If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well. What follows then, my lord?
Why, as by lot God wot. And then, you know, it came to pass, as most like it was. The first row of the pious chanson will show you more. For, look, where my abridgment comes. You are welcome, masters, welcome all. I am glad to see thee well. Welcome, good friends. Oh, my old friend, thy face is valanced since I saw thee last. Comest thou to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and mistress? By your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last, by the altitude of a chopine. Oh, pray God, your voice, like a piece of uncurrent gold, be not cracked within the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. We'll e'en to it like French falconers fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech.
What speech, my lord? What speech?
I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once, for the play I remember, pleased not the million. 'Twas caviar to the general, but as it was, as I received it, and others, whose judgments in such matters cried in the top of mine, an excellent play, well digested in the scenes, set down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember one said there were no sallets in the lines to make the matter savory, nor no matter in the phrase that might indict the author of affectation, but called it an honest method, as wholesome, as sweet, and by very much more handsome than fine. One speech in it I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas's tale to Dido, and thereabout of it especially, where he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast. No, it is not so. It begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the night resemble when he lay couched in the ominous horse, hath now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal, head to foot now is he total jewels, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and empasted with the parching streets that lend a tyrannous and damned light to their lord's murder, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam seeks. So, proceed you.
For God, my lord, well spoken, with good accent and good discretion.
Anon, he finds him, striking too short at Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives. In rage strikes wide, but with the width and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus's ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of Reverend Priam, seems in the air to stick. So, as a painted tyrant, Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter, did nothing. But, as we often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens, the rack stands still, the bold winds speechless, and the orb below as hush as death. Anon, the dreadful thunder doth rend the region, so after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sets him new a work. And never did the Cyclops' hammers fall on Mars' armor forged for proof a turn with less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword. Now falls on Priam. Out, out, thou strumpet fortune! All you gods in general synod, take away her power. Break all her spokes and fellies from her wheel, and bowl them round, knave, down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiends.
This is too long.
It shall to the barber's with your beard. Prithee, say on. He's for a jig or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps. Say on, come to Hecuba.
But who, oh, has seen the mobled queen?
The mobled queen?
That's good. The mobled queen is good.
Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flames, with bitten rheum a clout upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and all or timid loins a blanket, in the alarm of fear caught up, who this had seen, with tongue in venom steeped. 'Gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal move them not, would have made milch to the burning eyes of heaven, and passion in the gods.
Look, whether he has not turned his color and has tears in his eyes. Pray you no more.
'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out the rest soon. Good my lord, will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death, you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
God's bodykins, man, much better. Use every man after his desert, and who should scape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in.
Come, sirs.
Follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play The Murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
We'll have it tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert in it. Could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. Follow that lord, and look you mock him not. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage wand, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing, for Hecuba? What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do, had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like John a dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie in the throat as deep as to the lungs. Who does me this? Swoons, I should take it, for it cannot be but I am pigeon-livered, and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's offal. Bloody, bawdy villain! Remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kinless villain! Oh, vengeance! Why, what an ass am I! This is most brave, that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words, and fall a-cursing like a very drab, a scullion. Fie upon its foe about my brain! I have heard that guilty creatures, sitting at a play, have by this very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks, I'll tempt him to the quick. If he but blench, I'll know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
We will have a 10-minute intermission, and we look forward to having you back again. Thank you.
To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and, by opposing, end them. To die. To sleep. No more. And by asleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die. To sleep. To sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you now, the fair Ophelia, nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered.
Good my lord, how does your honor for this many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well.
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, you know right well you did, and with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again. For to the noble mind, rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord.
Are you honest?
My lord?
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly. For the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me. For virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why shouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offences at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do crawling between heaven and earth? We are errant knaves, all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell.
Oh, help him, you sweet heavens.
If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery. Go. Farewell. Or, if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery. Go. And quickly, too. Farewell.
Oh, heavenly powers, restore him.
I have heard of your paintings, too, well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig, you amble, and you lisp, and nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll no more on it. It hath made me mad. I say we shall have no more marriages. Those that are married already, all but one, shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery. Go. What ho? Horatio!
Oh, here, sweet lord, at your service.
Horatio, thou art even just as just a man as ere my conversation coped withal.
Oh, my dear lord.
Nay, do not think I flatter. For what advancement may I hope from thee, that no revenue hast but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Why should the poor be flattered? No, let the candied tongue lick absurd pomp, and crook the pregnant hinges of the knee, where thrift may follow fawning. Dost thou hear? Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice, and could of men distinguish her election, hath sealed thee for herself. For thou hast been as one in suffering all that suffers nothing, a man that fortune's buffets and rewards has ta'en with equal thanks. And blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stops she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core. Aye, in my heart of heart, as I do thee. Something too much of this. There is a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest that act afoot, even with the very comment of thy soul, observe mine uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one's speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him heedful note, for I mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both our judgments join in censure of his seeming.
Well, my lord, if he steal aught the whilst this play is playing, and scape detecting, I will pay the theft.
They are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place.
How fares our cousin Hamlet?
Excellent, in faith. Of the chameleon's dish. I eat the air, promise crammed. You could not feed capons so.
I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine.
No, nor mine now. My lord, you played once in the university, you say?
That did I, my lord, and was accounted a good actor.
What did you enact?
I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed in the Capitol. Brutus killed me.
It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Be the players ready?
Come hither, my dear Hamlet. Sit by me.
No, good mother. Here's metal more attractive.
Oh, do you mark that?
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
I mean my head upon your lap.
Aye, my lord.
Do you think I meant country matters?
I think nothing, my lord.
That's a fair thought to lie between maids' legs.
What is, my lord?
Nothing.
You are merry, my lord.
Who? I?
Aye, my lord.
Oh God, you're only jig maker. What should a man do but be merry? For look you, how cheerfully my mother looks, and my father died within these 2 hours.
Nay, 'tis twice 2 months, my lord.
So long? Nay then, let the devil wear black, for I'll have a suit of sables. Oh, heavens! Died 2 months ago, and not forgotten yet. Then there's hope a great man's memory may outlive his life half a year. But, by'r lady, he must build churches then, or else shall he suffer not thinking on with the hobby horse, whose epitaph is, for oh, the hobby horse is forgot.
For us, and for our tragedy, here, stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently.
Is this a prologue or the posy of a ring?
'Tis brief, my lord.
As woman's love.
Full 30 times has Phoebus' cart gone round Neptune's salt wash and Tellus' orbed ground. And 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 12 30s been. Since love our hearts and Hymen did our hands unite calm mutual in most sacred bands.
So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again count o'er ere love be done. But woe is me! You are so sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state, that I distrust you. Yet though I distrust, discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must. For women's fear and love holds quantity, in either aught or in extremity. Now, what my love is, proof hath made you know, and as my love is sized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear. Where little fears grow great, great love grows there.
Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too. My operant powers their functions leave to do. And thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honored, beloved, and haply one as kind, for husband shalt thou.
Oh, confound the rest! Such love must needs be treason in my breast. In second husband let me be accursed, none wed the second but who killed the first. The instances that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I kill my husband dead when second husband kisses me in bed.
I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine oft we break. Purpose is but the slave to memory, of violent birth, but poor validity, which now, like fruit unripe, sticks on the tree, but fall unshaken when they mellow be. Most necessary 'tis we forget to pay ourselves what to ourselves is debt. What to ourselves in passion we propose, the passion ending, doth the purpose lose? The violence of either grief or joy their own enactures with themselves destroy. Where joy most revels, grief does most lament. Grief joys, joy grieves, on slender accident. The world is not for aye, though 'tis not strange that even our loves should with our fortunes change. For 'tis a question left us yet to prove, whether love lead fortune, or else fortune love. The great man down, you mark his flies, the poor advanced makes friends of enemies, and hitherto doth love on fortune tend, for who not needs shall never lack a friend. And who in want hollow friend doth try, directly seizes him his enemy. But orderly to end, where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run, that our devices still are overthrown. Our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead.
Nor earth to give me food, nor heaven light. Sport and repose lock from me day and night. To desperation turn my trust and hope, and anchor's cheer in prison be my scope. Each opposite that blanks the face of joy meet what I would have well, and it destroy. Both here and hence pursue me lasting strife, if once a widow, ever I be wife.
If she should break it now.
'Tis deeply sworn, sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep.
Sleep rock thy brain, and never come mischance between us twain.
Madam, how like you this play?
The lady protests too much, methinks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offence in it?
No, they do but jest. Poison and jest. No offense in the world.
What do you call the play?
The Mousetrap. Marry how? Tropically, this play is the image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago is the Duke's name, his wife Baptista. You shall see anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work, but what of that? Your Majesty and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the galled jade wince, our withers are unwrung. That is one Lucianus, nephew to the king.
You are as good as a chorus, my lord.
I could interpret between you and your love if I could see the puppets dallying.
You are keen. My lord, you are keen.
It would cost you a groaning to take off my edge.
Still better and worse.
Oh, so you must take your husband's. Begin, murderer. Pox, leave thy damnable faces and begin. Come, the croaking raven doth bellow for revenge.
Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit and time agreeing. Confederate season, else no creature seeing. Thou mixture rank of midnight weeds collected, with Hecate's band thrice blasted, thrice infected, thy natural magic and dire property on wholesome life usurp immediately.
He poisons him in the garden for his estate. His name's Gonzago. The story is extant and writ in choice Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife.
The king rises.
What? Frighted with false fire?
How fares my lord?
Give o'er the play.
Give me some light! Away!
Lights!
Lights.
Lights!
Lights. Why, let the stricken deer go weep, the heart ungalled play, for some must watch while some must sleep. So runs the world away. Would not this, sir, and a forest of feathers, if the rest of my fortunes turn Turk with me, with 2 provincial roses on my raised shoes, get me a fellowship in a cry of players, sir?
Half a share.
A whole one, aye. For thou dost know, O Damon dear, this realm dismantled was of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very, very pagic.
You might have rhymed.
Good Horatio, I'll take the ghost's word for 1,000 pound. Didst perceive?
Very well, my lord.
Upon the talk of the poisoning.
I did very well note him.
Come, some music, come the recorders, for if the king be not like the comedy, why then belike he likes it not, Purdy. Come, some music. God bless you, sir.
My lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently.
Do you see yonder cloud that's almost in the shape of a camel?
By the mass, and 'tis like a camel, indeed.
Methinks it is like a weasel.
It is backed like a weasel,
Or like a whale.
very like a whale.
Then I will come to my mother by and by. They fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by.
I will say so.
By and by is easily said. 'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. Soft, now to my mother. O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites. How in my soul soever she be shent, to give them seals, never my soul consent. Now might I do it. Pet, now he is praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scant. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Oh, this is hire and salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown, as flush as May, and now his audit stands, who knows save heaven? But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul, when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. Up, sword, and know thou a more horrid hint. when he is drunk, asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at gaming, swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it. Then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell whereto it goes. My mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days. Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Why, how now, Hamlet?
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and, would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, then, I'll set those to you that can speak.
Come, come and sit you down. You shall not budge. You go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me. Help! Help! Oh!
What? Oh, help! Help! Help!
How now? A rat? Dead for a ducat! Dead!
Oh, I'm slain.
Oh me! What hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this!
A bloody deed. Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king?
Aye, lady, 'twas my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I look thee for thy better. Take thy fortune, thou findest to be too busy is some danger. Leave wringing of your hands peace. Sit you down, and let me wring your heart. For so I shall, if it be made of some penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brassed it so that it is proof and bulwark against sense.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths. Oh, such a deed as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face doth glow. Yea, this solidity and compound massed with tristful visage as against the doom is thought sick at the act.
Ay me, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here, upon this picture, and on this the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See, what a grace was seated on this brow. Hyperion's curls, the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars to threaten and command, a station like the herald Mercury new lighted on a heaven-kissed hill, a combination and a form indeed where every god did seem to set his seal, to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now, what follows? There is your husband, like a mildewed ear blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Have you eyes? You cannot call it love. For at your age the heyday in the blood is tame, it's humble and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment? What step from this to this? Sense, sure, you have, else you could not have motion. But sure that sense is apoplexed. For madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference. What devil was it that thus hath cozened you at hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sans all, or but a sickly part of one true sense could not so mope. Oh, shame! Where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou cannot mutiny in a matron's bones, to flaming youth let virtue be as wax, and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason panders will.
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turst mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tint.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
Oh, speak to me no more, these words like dagger into my ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent lord, a vice of kings, a cut-purse of the empire, and the rule that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
No more.
A king of shreds and patches. Save me, and hover over me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
Lass, he's mad.
Do you not come your tardy son to chide, that lapsed in time and passion lets go by the most important acting of your dread command? Oh, say!
Do not forget. This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul, conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, how is't with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair, like life in excrement, starts up and stands on end. Oh, gentle sun, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look?
On him! On him! Look how pale he glares! His form and cause conjoined, preaching to stones would make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects. Then what I have to do will want true color, tears, perchance for blood.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all, yet all that is I see.
Nor did you nothing hear?
No, nothing but ourselves.
Why, look you there! Look how it steals away! My father in his habit as he lived! Look where he goes even now, out at the portal!
Shh. This is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation ecstasy is very cunning in.
Ecstasy. My pulse, as yours, doth temperately keep time, and makes as healthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword, which madness would gamble from. Mother, for love of grace, lay not that mattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass, but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whilst rank corruption, mining all within, infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven. Repent what's past. Avoid what is to come. And do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them ranker. Forgive me this, my virtue, for in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg, yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good.
O Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it and live the purer with the other half. Good night. But go not to mine uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That monster custom, who all sense doth eat, of habits devil is angel yet in this, that to the use of actions fair and good he likewise gives a frock or livery that aptly is put on. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either the devil or throw him out with wondrous potency. Once more, good night, and when you are desirous to be blessed, all blessing beg of you. For this same Lord, I do repent. But heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him, and will answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel, only to be kind. Thus bad begins and worse remains behind. One word more, good lady.
What shall I do?
Not this, by no means, that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed. Pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reechy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know. For who that's but a queen, fair, sober, wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, a gib, such dear concernings hide? Who would do so? No, in despite of sense and secrecy, unpeg the basket on the house's top. Let the birds fly, and, like the famous ape, to try conclusions in the basket creep, and break your own neck down.
Be thou assured, if words be made of breath and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England. You know that?
Alack, I had forgot. 'Tis so concluded on.
There's letters sealed, and my 2 schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery. Let it work. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard, and it shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds, and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet, when in one line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night. Indeed, this counselor is now most still, most secret and most grave, who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you. Good night, mother.
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
At supper.
At supper. Where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are e'en at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar is but variable service, 2 dishes but to 1 table. That's the end.
Alas! Alas!
A man may fish with the worm that hath eat of a king, and eat of the fish that hath fed of that worm.
What dost you mean by this?
Nothing, but to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar.
Where is Polonius?
In heaven. Send hither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him in the other place yourself. But indeed, if you find him not within this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby.
Go seek him there!
He will stay till you come.
Hamlet, this deed for thine especial safety, which we do tender as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The bark is ready, and the wind at help. The associates tend, and everything is bent for England.
For England?
Aye, Hamlet.
Good.
So is it, if thou knewest our purposes.
I see a cherub that sees them. But come, for England! Farewell, dear mother.
Thy loving father, Hamlet.
My mother. Father and mother is man and wife. Man and wife is one flesh, and so, my mother. Come, for England!
What are they that would speak with me?
Sailors, sir. They say they have letters for you.
Oh, let them come in. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted, if not by Lord Hamlet.
God bless you, sir.
Oh, let him bless thee too.
He shall, sir, and please him. There's a letter for you, sir. It comes from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I am led to know it is.
Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king. They have letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear will make thee dumb, yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. These good fellows will bring thee to where I am. He that thou knowest thine, Hamlet. Come, I will make you way for these your letters, and do it the speedier, that you may direct me to him from whom you brought them.
In youth when I did love, methought it was very sweet to contract all the time for my behove. Oh, methought there was nothing meet.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business that he sings at grave making?
Custom hath made it in him a property of easiness.
'Tis e'en so. The hand of little employment hath the daintier sense.
But age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into the land as if I had never been taught such. Da, 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 da.
That skull had a tongue in it, and could sing once. How the knave jowls it to the ground as if it were Cain's jawbone that did the first murder. It might be the pate of a politician which this ass now o'erreaches. One that would circumvent God, might it not?
Oh, it might, my lord.
Or of a courtier, which could say, Good morrow, sweet lord. How dost thou, good lord? This might be my lord such a one that praised my lord such a one's horse, which he meant to beg it. might it not?
Aye, my lord.
E'en so. And now my lady worms, chapless, and knocked about the mazzard with a sexton's spade. Here's fine revolution, and we had the trick to see it. These bones cost no more the breeding, but to play at loggets with them, I ache to think on it.
A pickaxe and a spade, four and a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pit of clay for two be made, for such a guest is meet.
There's another. Why may not that be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddities now, his quillets, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this rude knave now to knock him about with the sconce of a dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action of battery? This fellow might be in his time a great buyer of land, with his statutes, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine of his fines, and the recovery of his recoveries? To have his fine pate full of fine dirt. Will his vouchers vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too, than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of his lands will hardly lie in this box. And must the inheritor himself have no more?
Not a jot more, my lord.
Is not parchment made of sheepskins?
Aye, my lord, and of calfskins too.
They are sheep and calves which seek out assurance in that. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave's this, sirrah?
Mine, sir. Oh, a pit of clay for two be made, for such a guest is meet.
I think it be thine, indeed, for thou liest in it.
You lie out on it, sir, and therefore it is not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, and yet it is mine.
Thou dost lie in it, to be in it and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not for the quick. Therefore thou liest.
Oh, 'tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away gain from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
Oh, for no man, sir.
What woman, then?
Oh, for none either.
Who is to be buried in it?
One that was a woman, sir. But rest her soul. She is dead.
How absolute the knave is. We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, these 3 years I have taken a note of it. The age is grown so picked that the toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier he gaffs his gibe. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Of all the days of the year, I came to it that day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is that since?
Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent into England.
Ay, marry, why was he sent into England?
Why, because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there. Or, if he do not, it's no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as mad as he.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith, e'en with losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years.
How long will a man in the earth ere he rot?
If he be not rotten before he die. As we have many pocky courses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in, He will last you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year.
Why he more than another?
Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that he will keep out water a great while. And your water is a sore decayer of your horse-undead body. Oh, here's a skull now. This skull has lain in the earth 23 years.
Whose was it?
A whoreson mad fellow's it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester.
This?
E'en that.
Let me see. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And now how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge rims at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriments that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning? Quite chapfallen. Now get you to my lady's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing.
What's that, my lord?
Dost thou think Alexander looked on this fashion in the earth?
E'en so.
And smelt so?
E'en so, my lord.
To what base uses we may return, Horatio. Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till he find it stopping a bunghole?
'Twere to consider too curiously, to consider so.
No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither with modesty enough and likelihood to lead it, as thus. Alexander died. Alexander was buried. Alexander returneth into dust. The dust is earth. Of earth we make loam. And why of that loam whereto he was converted, might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to keep the wind away. That earth which kept the world in awe should patch a wall to expel the winter flaw. But soft, aside, here comes the king. The queen, the courtiers. Who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites? This doth betoken the course they follow did with some desperate hand fordo its own life. It was of some estate. Couch we awhile, and mark.
What ceremony else?
That is Laertes, a very noble youth, mark.
What ceremony else?
Her obsequies have been as far enlarged as we have warranties. Her death was doubtful, and that but great command o'ersways the order. She should in ground unsanctified have lodged, till the last trumpet for charitable prayers. Shards, flints, and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed her virgin krantz, her maiden struments, and the bringing home of bell and burial.
Must there no more be done?
No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead, to sing a requiem, and such rest to her as to peace parted souls.
Lay her in the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be, when thou liest howling.
What? Fair Ophelia?
Sweets to the sweet, farewell. I hoped thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bride bed to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave.
Oh, treble woe, full 10 times treble on that cursed head whose wicked deeds thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold up the earth awhile, till I have caught her once more in mine arms. Now pile your dust upon the quick and dead, till of this flat a mountain you have made, to overtop all Pelion, or the sky's head of blue Olympus.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis? Whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars and makes them stand like wonder-wounded hearers? This is I, Hamlet the Dane.
The devil take thy soul!
Thou prayest not well. I prithee, take thy fingers from my throat. For though I am not splentive and rash, yet have I something in me dangerous, which let thy wiseness fear. Hold off thy hand!
Hamlet!
Pluck
Hamlet!
them asunder.
Gentlemen,
Good my lord, be quiet.
I will fight with him upon this theme until my eyelids will no longer wag.
Oh, my son, what theme?
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her?
Oh, he is mad, Laertes.
For the love of God, forbear him.
Swans, show me what thou'lt do. Would weep? Would fight? Would fast? Would tear thyself? Would drink up easel? Eat a crocodile? I'll do it! Dost thou come here to whine? To outface me with leaping in her grave? Be buried quick with her, and so will I. And if thou prate of mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us, till our ground, singeing his pate against the burning zone, make Ossa like a wart. Nay, in owl's mouth I'll rant as well as thou.
This is mere madness. And thus a while the fit will work on him. Anon, as patient as the female dove when that her golden couplets are disclosed, his silence will sit drooping.
Hear you, sir. What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you, ever. But it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may. The cat will mew and dog will have his day. So much for this, sir. Now you shall see the other. You do remember all the circumstance.
Remember it, my lord.
Sir, in my heart there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. Methought I lay worse than the mutinies and the bilboes. Rashly, and praised be rashness for it. Let us know, our indiscretion sometimes serves us well. When our deep plots do pall, and that should teach us, there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will.
That is most certain.
Up from my cabin, my sea gown scarfed about me, in the dark groped I to find out them. Had my desire, fingered their packet, and in fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold, my fears forgetting manners, to unseal their grand commission, where I found Horatio, oh, royal knavery, an exact command, larded with many several sorts of reasons, importing Denmark's health and England's too, with, oh, such bugs and goblins in my life that on the supervise, no leisure baited, no, not to stay the grinding of the axe, my head should be struck off.
Is it possible?
Here's the commission. Read it at more leisure. But wilt thou hear me how I did proceed?
I beseech you.
Being thus benettled round with villainies, ere I could make a prologue to my brains, they had begun the play. I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair. I once did hold it, as our statists do, a baseness to write fair, and laboured much how to forget that learning. But, sir, it did me yeoman's service. Wilt thou know the effect of what I wrote?
Aye, my good lord.
An earnest conjuration from the king. As England was his faithful tributary, as love between them the palm might flourish, as peace should stiff her wheaten garland wear, and stand a common comma tween their amenities, and many such alike, as is great of charge, that on the view and knowing of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, he should the bearers put to sudden death, not shriving time allowed.
How was the field?
Why, even that was heaven ordinate. I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of that Danish seal, folded the writ up in form of the other, subscribed it, gave it the impression, placed it safely, the changeling never known. Now the next day was our sea fight, and what to this was sequent thou knowest already.
So Guildenstern and Rosencrantz go to it.
Ay, man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the past and fell incensed points of mighty opposites.
Why, what a king is this?
Does it not, thinkest thee, stand me now upon? He that hath killed my king and whored my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out his angle for my proper life, and with such cozenage, is it not perfect conscience to quit him with this arm? And is it not to be damned to let this canker of our nature come in further evil?
It must be shortly known to him from England what is the issue of the business there.
It will be short. The interim is mine, and a man's life no more than to say one. But I am very sorry, good Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself. For by the image of my cause I see the portraiture of his. I'll court his favours. But sure, the bravery of his grief did put me into a towering passion.
Peace. Who comes here?
Your lordship is right. Welcome back to Denmark.
I humbly thank you, sir. Dost know this waterfly?
No, my good lord.
Thy state is the more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath much land, and fertile. Let a beast be lord of beasts, and his crib shall stand at the king's mess. 'Tis a cough, but as I say, spacious in the possession of dirt.
Sweet lord, if your lordship were at leisure, I should impart a thing to you from his majesty.
I will receive it, sir, with all diligence of spirit. Put your bonnet to his right use. 'Tis for the head.
I thank your lordship. It is very hot.
No, believe me, 'tis very cold. The wind is northerly.
It is indifferent cold, my lord, indeed.
But yet methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord. It is very sultry, as 'twere. I cannot tell how. But, my lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he has laid a great wager on your head, sir. This is the matter.
I beseech you, remember.
Oh, nay, good my lord, for mine ease. In good faith, sir, here is newly come to court Laertes, believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences, of very soft society and great showing. Indeed, to speak feelingly of him, he is the card or calendar of gentry. For you shall find in him the continent of what part a gentleman would see.
Sir, his definement suffers no perdition in you. Though I know, to divide him inventorially would dizzy the arithmetic of memory, and yet by yaw neither in respect of his quick sail. But, in the verity of extolment, I take him to be a soul of great article, and his infusion of such dearth and rareness as to make true diction of him. His semblance is his mirror, and who else would trace him, his umbrage, nothing more.
Your lordship speaks most infallibly of him.
The consonancy, sir? Why do we wrap the gentleman in our more rawer breath?
Sir?
Not possible to understand in another tongue. You will do it, sir, really.
What imports the nomination of this gentleman?
Of Laertes?
Oh, his purse is empty already. All golden words are spent.
Of him, sir.
I know you are not ignorant.
I would you did, sir. Yet in faith, if you did, it would not much approve me. Well, sir?
You are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is.
I dare not confess that, lest I should compare with him in excellence, but to know a man well, or should know himself.
I mean, sir, for his weapon. But in the imputation laid on him by them, in his meed he's unfellowed.
What's his weapon?
Rapier and dagger.
That's two of his weapons, but, well.
The king, sir, hath wagered with him 6 Barbary horses, against the which he has imponed, as I take it, 6 French rapiers and poniards, with their assigns as girdle, hangers, and so. 3 of the carriages, in faith, are very dear to fancy, very responsive to the hilts, most delicate carriages, and of very liberal conceit.
What call you the carriages?
I knew you must be edified by the margent ere you had done.
The carriages, sir, are the hangers.
The phrase would be more germane to the matter if we could carry cannon by our sides. I would it might be hangers till then. But on 6 Barbary horses against 6 French swords, their assigns, and 3 liberal conceited carriages. That's the French bet against the Dane. Why is this imponed, as you call it?
The king, sir, hath laid that in a dozen passes between yourself and him, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He hath laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial. If your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
How if I answer no?
I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial.
Sir, I will walk here in the hall. If it please his majesty, 'tis the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought, the gentleman willing, and the king hold his purpose. I will win for him, and I can. If not, I will gain nothing but my shame and the odd hits.
Shall I re-deliver you even so?
To this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature will.
I commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours. He does well to commend it himself. There are no tongues else for turn.
Oh, this lapwing runs away with a shell on his head.
He did comply with his dug before he sucked it. Thus has he, and many more of the same bevy that I know the dressy age dotes on, only got the tune of the time and outward habit of encounter, a kind of yesty collection which carries them through and through the most fond and winnowed opinions, and do but blow them to their trial, the bubbles are out.
My lord, his majesty commended him to you by young Osric, who brings back to him that you attend him in the hall. He sends to know if your pleasure hold to play with Laertes, or that you will take longer time.
I am constant to my purpose. They follow the king's pleasure. If his fitness speaks, mine is ready, now or whensoever, provided I be so able as now.
The king and queen are all coming down.
In happy time.
The queen desires you to use some gentle entertainment to Laertes before you fall to play.
She well instructs me.
You will lose this wager, my lord.
I do not think so. Since he went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. But thou wouldst not think how ill all's here about my heart. But it is no matter.
Nay, good my lord.
It is but foolery. But it is such a kind of gain-giving as would perhaps trouble a woman.
If your mind dislike anything, obey it. I will forestall their repair hither and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There's a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man has aught of what he leaves, what is it to leave betimes?
Come, Hamlet, come, and take this hand from me.
Give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong, but pardon it as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with sore distraction. What I have done that might your nature, honor, and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Was it Hamlet wronged Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be ta'en away, and when he's not himself does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it, then? His madness. If it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts, that I have shot mine arrow o'er the house and hurt my brother.
I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge. But in my terms of honor I stand aloof, and will no reconcilement, till by some elder masters of known honor I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungored. But till that time I do receive your offered love like love, and will not wrong it.
I embrace it freely, and will this brother's wager frankly play. Give us the foils. Come on.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. In my ignorance your skill shall, like a star in the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed.
You mock me, sir.
No, by this hand.
Give them the foils, young Osric. Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager.
Very well, my lord. Your grace had laid the odds on the weaker side.
I do not fear it. I've seen you both. But since he is bettered, we have therefore odds.
This is too heavy. Let me see another.
This likes me well. These foils have all a length.
Aye, my good lord.
Set me the stoups of wine upon that table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, or quit in answer of the third exchange, let all the battlements their ordnance fire. The king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath, and in the cup an union shall he throw, richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Give me the cups, and let the kettle to the trumpet speak. The trumpet to the cannoneer without, the cannons to the heavens to earth. Now the king dunks to Hamlet. Come, begin, and you, the judges, bear a wary eye.
Come on, sir.
Come, my lord.
1.
No.
Judgment.
A hit, a very palpable hit.
Well, again.
Say, give me drink, Hamlet. This pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup.
I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while. Come. Ha! Another hit. What say you?
A touch. A touch. I do confess.
Our son shall win.
He's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin and rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet.
Good madam.
Gertrude, do not drink.
I will, my lord. I pray you pardon me.
It is the poisoned cup. It is too late.
I dare not drink yet, madam. By and by.
Come, let me wipe thy face.
My lord, I'll hit him now.
I do not think it.
And yet, 'tis almost against my conscience.
Come, for the third, Laertes. You but dally. I pray you, pass with your best violence. I am afeard you make a wanton of me.
Say you so? Come on.
Nothing either way.
How about you now?
But part them. They are incensed.
Nay, come, again.
Look to the queen there! Oh!
They bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord?
How is it, Laertes?
Why, as a woodcock to my own spin, Osric, I am justly killed with my own treachery.
How does the queen?
She swoons to see them bleed.
No, no, the drink. The drink. Oh, my dear Hamlet, the drink. The drink. I am poisoned.
Oh, villainy. Oh, let the door be locked. Treachery. Seek it out.
It is here, Hamlet. Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee there is not half hour of life. That treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother is poisoned. I can no more. The king's to blame.
The point. Envenomed too. Then venom to thy work.
Treason! Treason!
Oh! Yet defend me, friends! I am but hurt!
Here, thou incestuous, murderous, damned Dane! Drink off this potion. Is thy union here? Follow my mother!
He is justly served. It is a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet, Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine upon me.
Heaven make thee free of it. I follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance that are but mutes or audience to this act, had I but time, as this fell sergeant Death is strict in his arrest, oh, I could tell you. But let it be. Horatio, I am dead. Thou livest. Report to me and my cause aright to the unsatisfied.
Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left.
As thou art man, give me the cup. Let go. By heaven, I'll have it. Oh, good Horatio, what a wounded name, things standing thus unknown, shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. What warlike noise is this?
Young Fortinbras with conquest come from Poland. To the ambassadors of England gives this warlike volley.
I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite o'ergrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news of England. But I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice. So tell him, with the occurrence, more and less, which have solicited. The rest is silence.
Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Why does the drum come hither?
Where is this sight?
What is it yet ye would see? If aught of woe or wonder, cease your search.
This quarry cries on havoc. O proud death! What feast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot so bloodily hast struck?
The sight is dismal, and our affairs from England come too late. The ears are senseless that should give us hearing to tell him his commandment is fulfilled. Where should we have our thanks?
Not from his mouth, had it the ability of life to thank you. He never gave commandment for their death. But since, so jump upon this bloody question, you from the Polack Wars, and you from England, are here arrived, give order that these bodies high on a stage be placed to the view. And let me speak to the yet unknowing world how these things came about. So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts, of accidental judgments, casual slaughters, of deaths put on by cunning and forced cause, and in this upshot, purposes mistook, fallen on the inventor's reds. All this can I truly deliver.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Thank you so much for joining us at our the first of a series that we're doing, Hamlet Reflections on Empathy. This series is going to be running through January, and we're going to be doing 3 shows, each of them showing the story of Hamlet, the play of Hamlet, from a different character's perspective. We hope you'll join us for the shows that we have posted about and will continue to post about on our various social media platforms. You can also find the recordings of all of our performances on our YouTube channel, which I will happily link you to through all of our various social media platforms. We'll be uploading our Hamlet tomorrow, assuming that I can cut it in time. So here's hoping, right? Yay, live theater. Live theater is full of exciting things. I had intended to do some posting in the chat for the cast, but my computer's just not working properly. So if we could have the whole cast come on screen, please. Thank you so much. This is our incredible cast, and I want to tell you about them real quick before I introduce them. They worked really hard, and when I say really hard, I mean they did something that really no director should ask you to do. I gave them a script, and I gave them a vision of what I wanted them to do, and then I basically put them in a room and was like, great, do Hamlet. Great, we're performing it tomorrow. So they rehearsed once, and they brought this to you after a single rehearsal. And I think that's a testament to what incredible actors these people are. The intensity, the passion, the emotion that went behind these. It wasn't something that they spent a long time rehearsing. It's something that they created and then brought to you in a matter of 48 hours, which is pretty freaking incredible. So I'm going to go according to who's up on my screen first. Laertes was played by Liana O'Lear. Liana, if you could wave for us, thank you so much. We have Gertrude, occasionally referred to as Rude Gertie, played by Leandra Lynn. The incomparable Jane Margulies Kalbfeld. Jane, did I pronounce your name properly? Nope. Do you want to come on and pronounce it properly?
Margulies. Jane
Margulies.
Margulies Kalbfeld.
I've known Jane for 2 years and I can't say her name. Jane Margulies Kalbfeld. Sorry about that. Jane is also a brand new member of our Globe Openstage staff, so really I should pronounce her name correctly. Jane, you vanished. Well, there you are. And she played Marcellus, the Player King, and the Priest, and was also involved in the casting. And then we have Megan Frederick. Megan, if you could wave for us, who played our Ophelia, and Jacqueline Hume, like Zoom, who played our King Claudius. Special shout out to Jackie, who was the first person to really introduce me to Zoom theater and does more theater on a regular basis than any group of 10 human beings you will ever meet. So the fact that we have her with us today is pretty freaking great. And then the amazing Margaret Carson, who played our Hamlet today. That was pretty incredible. Now, special treat for me, I got to work with Robert Howard for the first time. I've wanted to have him in our Zoom shows forever, but he's been dodging me. But now that I've finally gotten him, he's an incredible actor. Robert Howard, who played our Osric, our Gravedigger, and Lucianus. So hopefully we'll get him back. Make sure to write him lots of Facebook messages about how much you want to see him in our shows so that we never lose him again. We have Margaret, who I refer to as the notorious MMJ, Margaret McCabe-Janicki, who played our Polonius. Can I get a wave? Excellent. And Kira Simmons, who played our Horatio. I don't know if you noticed that Kira was legit crying at the end. Like, I looked up and I was like, oh my God, the feelings of it. I started not as well, not as beautifully as she did. It was pretty intense. So Kira as Horatio. And then we have poor Nicole Godino, who not only played a number of wonderful roles in this show. Nicole played the ghost of King Hamlet. She played the player queen. She played Bernardo. And then at the last minute, when I was unable to get my Zoom to work properly, she stepped in to play Fortinbras, which was perfectly fantastic. Nicole is also a new member of our Globe Openstage staff, and we are delighted to have her. Did I weirdly skip anybody?
You skipped you.
Oh, hi, I'm me. I'm Rel. I'm the artistic director of Globe Openstage, and I was the ambassador's voice. I did incredible work. I can give you all an autograph. It'll be great as the ambassador's voice.
Give us a wave and a twirl.
I'm really happy to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for coming to our show. And you can see it on Globe Open Stage's YouTube channel, probably starting tomorrow or possibly the day after that. Please keep an eye on our everything. Just keep an eye on Globe Open Stage because we're going places. It's going to be great. Vote for us on Broadway World. Okay, I'm closing the Zoom. Have a great day, everybody.